Hey, just a warning. While Fuller House is a family show, the Fullest House podcast is not. Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to the Fullest House podcast, where our girlfriends are total jinxes, you guys.
What girlfriends?
Okay. Alright, okay, Zach. I get that it's both of us. I'm just
Listen, I have no shame. You should know this.
I'm Mark Greene.
Listen, we gotta. We're not doing this right now. No, I'm not about to lie to the people like this, Mark. You're single. I'm single. We can't spread false information.
This is a facade. All right, okay, guys. Yes, I'm single. By the way, if you're out there, hit me up.
You can introduce yourself now.
I'm Mark Greene.
I'm Harrison Bloom.
And I'm Zach Horowitz. Please date me.
We should say before we get into the bulk of the podcast, this is actually our second time recording this episode because we lost the audio for the first record.
Yeah,
we fucked up.
It was bound to happen at some point.
Bound to happen at some point, and to be fair, our computers fucked up.
Yeah.
Guys, I think I know exactly why we fucked up this time. It's because Stephanie's a jinx.
Exactly!
Stephanie is
She's
a jinx.
jinx.
She jinxed us.
Damn it!
Like that smooth transition into the plot of the actual episode itself, guys.
Can always count on you with those smooth transitions.
Exactly. Look, that's what I'm here for.
If there's anyone out there who wants a guy with some smooth transitions,
listen.
We know a guy.
Ladies, I'm single.
Ready to mingle.
I got great transitions. What more could you possibly want from a guy? Hit me up. I also have a Fuller House podcast, which I feel like that's a positive,
your biggest asset.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, on to the actual episode itself.
So everybody is waiting excitedly for Aunt Steph's new boyfriend to show up at the beginning of the episode.
Yes, her new boyfriend, Hunter Pence of the San Francisco Giants. She's just dating a baseball player now, and it's, sure.
My favorite baseball player, Hunter Pence.
Yeah, the Hunter Pence who I am so aware of.
Yeah.
Because of my deep knowledge of baseball.
That was the joke, listeners. I don't know anything about no sports.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd like to point out the only one here who knows anything about sports is me. Not to say that I don't know. Do you guys object to this notion that I'm like the only one who knows anything about sports here?
I mean, I know some stuff about MMA.
Yeah, I believe it's a spectrum. I 100% know the least.
So what I'm hearing is I'm the only one who knows anything about sports.
I do want to say I have read and seen a lot of Peanuts cartoons where they play baseball.
Well, that's basically the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, so there you go.
I also have seen Space Jam a lot of times, so I think I know a lot about basketball as well.
Oh.
Yeah, guys, I'm starting to think Mark might be our sports expert here.
You already lost it, Zach.
I know. I've already lost my throne as the sport king.
I am the sport king now. Look upon my works and tremble. The sport king who sits on the sport throne.
Can you tell that this is our second time doing this episode?
Yeah, we're...
Yes, I agree. Can you tell that we're doing this a second time?
The reason we brought it up is to preemptively apologize in case this episode is a mess.
It's gonna be a mess.
It's gonna be a mess. But anyway, I was trying to be at least a little organized and ordered by starting at the beginning. It does start indeed with everybody gleefully awaiting the arrival of Stephanie's new boyfriend, Hunter Pence.
That's right. And they all meet him, and he seems like a super cool guy.
I actually think Hunter Pence comes off as a really weird guy in this introduction. For a number of reasons.
But in particular, one specific reason.
I have a second.
Okay, I forget what your second one is. My first is that he not only is a huge proponent of eating pizza with a fork and knife,
which is just downright blasphemy,
but carries around a gold pizza fork on his neck
at all times,
like as almost like his bling.
He wears it at all times,
just in case he needs it.
It is gold. We didn't note that before, and I think that is important. It's at least gold-plated or gold-colored. He's not going in for no cheap-ass pizza fork. Which, by the way, also I'm noticing, he has a fork that hangs around his neck to eat pizza with, but no knife. Meaning that he doesn't eat pizza with a knife and fork and, like, chops it up and puts it in his mouth. He just, like, skewers the pizza on a fork and then, like, gnaws at it.
Okay, wait, Mark, if I can add on to this theory a little bit.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you're asking why he doesn't wear a knife
Yes.
around his neck. I just want to make this clear. You are asking why this professional athlete does not wear a knife, a sharp object, around his neck.
Well, then why does he wear the fork around his neck? The fork is
exactly,
sharp.
exactly.
It's prongs.
Exactly. I understand what you're saying, but I have two responses. One, we all know that if you're rich and famous, anything's legal. And two, if he's so serious about eating pizza with a fork and knife that he wears a fork around his neck, then why doesn't he have a knife as well? He can't use the fork to eat pizza.
It's a symbol of his nonprofit organization, the Hunter Pence Foundation, where he provides
Hunter
a fork
Pence.
and knife.
Giving forks to underprivileged children.
Yeah, to underprivileged children so they can eat their pizza the proper way.
And presumably only pizza. Like, I imagine if they try to use those forks for anything else, he just comes around and slaps it out of their hands.
Yeah, it's like one of those, new utensils made just for one food. Like, you got steak knife, butter knife, pizza fork.
I mean, me personally, I always carry around my miniature spatula for soup, but that's just me,
I'm no culinary expert, but I'm pretty sure there are holes in a spatula.
Not all of them. There are some, solid ones.
It's almost like a comically large spoon kind of scenario.
If you want to interpret it that way.
I think what we're learning is Harrison doesn't know the difference between spoons and spatulas.
Well, no, the spoon is, curved like this. A spatula is flat.
I have no idea what has been going on for the past couple minutes. I'm gonna be real honest. We opened the episode. I told the audience to please date me, and then from there it's just kind of a blur.
I was going to move us on to something else, and you guys want to hear my second gripe with Hunter Pence in this opening?
Yes,
Not a
please.
gripe, but just
Sure.
a thing. Well, there's a whole thing where he says they're all excited to meet him, and he says, "I'm just a normal person. I put on my pants 2 legs at a time." And DJ says, "Don't you mean 1 leg at a time?" And he says, "No, I open them up and jump into them 2 legs at a time." Which, Hunter, you're an athlete. You have to be careful. You can't injure yourself like that. What are you going to say if you're in the hospital after breaking your legs and you can't play baseball because you were jumping into your pants 2 legs at a time?
But anyways, Hunter Pence comes in and it's great, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's San Francisco Giants player Hunter Pence," who, if I remember correctly, was a kind of big star in the MLB at the time. Not anymore, but at the time, yeah. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, this baseball player," and they're all very into baseball.
Very into baseball.
They're all very into baseball, and it's kind of off-putting. I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because there is a whole thing where, Ramona knows his batting average or something, and she rattles off these facts about him and then turns to Stephanie and says, "Right?" So, Steph is coaching them on it, but there is a running theme in this episode that all of these characters, who up until this point haven't exhibited any big interest in sports in general, are all super into baseball.
Yeah. They're really proud of their baseball team. And it leads to some wacky hijinks later on.
Wacky hijinks, yeah.
Actually, I need to figure out, because it was kind of a big thing in the baseball world that the San Francisco Giants were very good in even-numbered years. And this episode was released in 2016,
Whoop, whoop.
an even-numbered year.
Go Giants!
So yeah, just wanted to, just thought I'd bring that up. So Hunter comes in, he gives them all tickets to the baseball game, and Stephanie is going to sing for the crowd because she has a singing career now.
Yeah, she's trying to start a singing career, and her first gig is during a professional baseball game.
I mean, I've been to like sports games before, and I feel like singing like the national anthem and stuff like that. In this case, she sings like "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" during the 7th inning stretch. I feel like I just lost most of the viewers with that one sentence right there. But I don't know. I feel like they don't usually get like professional singers. It's usually just like a local talent. But I do agree. Like maybe for your first outing, like a professional baseball game might not be the best place to go.
It just feels like a high stress situation, and also not optimal for someone who really wants to get into performing. Like imagine her going now to like clubs or shows, and she's treating everything like it's a baseball game. It seems like a professional baseball game will have a lot of people there who are going to be listening to you, and people who aren't really there to listen to music, and so they kind of don't want to listen to you anyway. It just seems like a very high-stress situation.
Not to mention the fact that she's the Jinx, the mystery blonde.
That's right.
That's right. Hunter Pence hasn't gotten a hit in a while, and they think it's all because of Stephanie.
She's a Jinx.
When J Money learns that they're dating, he immediately says, "You're the mystery blonde who's jinxing him." I felt like that voice that I didn't mean to do a voice, but it sounded to me like a person in the 40s reading out a news headline. "You're that mystery blonde who's jinxing him."
Also, Matt and Steve are here.
Is Steve there or just Matt?
Oh, yeah, no, it's just Matt. Steve comes later. But our boys, our wonderful
boys have a lot to do in this episode.
Our beautiful
boys, our beautiful sons.
You see, the theme of this episode, the reason we opened up with the deep discussion of our dating lives, is because there is a ton of smooching in this episode.
There's a ton of smooching in this episode, which I think we should start with. You know, in this first scene, J Money is asking for help. Maybe it's not the first scene, but J Money is asking for help from Ramona to get him in good with Lola.
That's right. Ramona's his wing woman.
Yeah, but you're right. There's a lot of smooching in this episode.
First, we have DJ and Matt smooching outside, and Zach took a huge issue with the way they framed this scene.
Okay, yeah, the way they framed the scene. There is a screen on the door, the front door of the house. Matt takes DJ outside to say, like, "Hey, DJ, can I talk to you about something?" And then he just brings her in and smooches her. And there's a screen, and everyone else is on the other side of the screen. They can see everything that's going on.
Listeners, you should know that this is
they tried to like go off somewhere in private to smooch, and they didn't go somewhere private. I just have a big problem with that.
What I was going to say before Zach interrupted me with his rant about screens, listeners, this is the exact same energy he had in the episode while we were watching it.
Yes.
Listen, I strive to make it as close to the original.
You seek to interrupt me, but it only makes my jokes stronger. I am the sport king.
Okay, I just don't understand why they went off to try and like go somewhere in secret.
Is this the new cushion? The new tattered cushion?
Just turn it over.
Just turn it over.
So yes, so they have their smooches, and everyone's really supportive of her new relationship, which is nice.
They're like, "Ooh, you like him, don't you?"
Yeah, she comes in, they're like, "You like him, Mom. You get some. Go get some."
And so DJ decides she's going to let Steve down real easy, let her know that she's going to date Matt. And so it cuts to DJ and Steve having a little... They're walking their dogs together.
Yes.
Having a fun time walking their dogs.
Steve immediately, in his first line in the episode, suggests that they move in together.
Which is a wonderful way to ask someone out. I myself have tried this many times.
He's a very normal man. Yeah, Harrison, as the only one of us as established who has a girlfriend, I have been saying to a lot of girls, "Hey, you like my dog? Let's move in together." Is that too forward? Or not forward enough?
I think it's too forward, especially considering I know you don't have a dog either.
Zach, so many of my bits involve saying things that are not true. If you're gonna do this to every single statement I make...
Listen, the viewers deserve to know the truth. I am here to bring it to them.
I am not a journalist. I am an entertainer. Anyway, Harrison, you were gonna say?
Well, Mark, as the relationship expert here, It's important to test the waters in any relationship. And, not to find the right balance between talking about your dog and talking about living together. Usually, opt for talking about the dog the least amount, and always go for moving in together, especially on the first date.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions like, so what are we to each other
Right.
5 minutes into dinner? And, would you like to have kids with me?
Ask to move in. I'm just taking notes, Harrison. I hope you don't mind.
I've got it all up here. I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think it would be cute and charming for me to say, I know where you live? Because then, like, I can help her move into my apartment because I know her address. So I can have her mail forwarded. It's this really sweet thing that I think to say to people.
No, Mark. I think the idea is there, but you have to say it along the lines of like, look, I know where you live, and it's horrible. My apartment's a lot nicer than yours. You should move in.
But
with
I
me.
have to do a pause. It has to be, I know where you live, and it's horrible.
Exactly.
So Stephen DJ.
Yes, Stephen DJ.
Stephen DJ. DJ sits Steve down to tell him that she's seeing someone, but before she can say anything, Steve gives her a big ol' smooch.
He does.
He does.
And she says, Steve, I can't. And he says, sure you can. And he gives her another smooch. So many smooches.
He really takes the direct approach, and one has to admire that.
Yeah, although I do...
A little too direct.
I do have a bit of a problem with her saying, Steve, I can't, and him saying, what are you talking about? And kissing her anyway.
Yeah.
If a woman says she can't or doesn't want to kiss you, don't kiss her. Also, just if a woman doesn't want to do anything with you, just leave her alone. Respect her wishes.
I love how you've pivoted within 5 minutes to I know where you live to hey, if a girl says no, it means no.
We've established that you're apparently the only one who can't tell when I'm joking and when I'm telling the truth. We are hardly through this episode.
Oh yeah, they go to the game.
They go to the game. DJ talks to Stephanie and Kimmy and says, now that Steve kissed me and I really liked it, I don't know who I want to date. And they go to a baseball game. There, we did it.
We did it. All right, at the game, they all sit down. They're all at the stadium, at the ballpark. It's filmed during an actual Dodgers-Giants game. Fun IMDb trivia.
I was so certain when they said, we're going to the game, that they were going to cut to like an SNL-style set where there are like 7 people total. And everything looks like it was made 10 minutes ago. But then they were at a real ball game. It was very good.
This show has a surprisingly high budget.
The only one who's not at this actual ball game, surprisingly enough, is the only actual baseball player.
Hunter Pence is shot in front of a very obvious green screen, and I love it. I am here for it.
Oh, it's so funny.
Bad green screens are one of my favorite things.
Oh, same.
But like, here's my thing though. You shot all of your characters at a baseball game, except for the one who's an actual baseball player. Like, I get that he has a different schedule from everybody else.
Well, I was gonna say, he's also in the baseball game. He has to play baseball.
No. I don't mean on the same day. I mean, like, you couldn't have taken a camera to the stadium one day.
Well, then they probably would have had to get the fans and the other players.
But they just shoot him, he's in the dugout. Get some extras.
Okay, yeah, the shots in the dugout, yeah.
I'm just saying, you brought all your actors. It's funny to me that they brought all their actors to a baseball stadium, and they brought the baseball player to a soundstage.
It is ironic. That's very weird.
But yeah, they all sit down, and we are introduced to, quite possibly, the people's champion of this episode. A fan who sits behind them, who we have lovingly given the nickname of Baseball Chris Christie.
It's an impressive likeness.
He's a very irate, overweight man. Baseball Christie seemed appropriate.
He really takes issue with 2 people in particular. 1, the Jinx, and 2, a 7-year-old in the form of Max.
Yeah, like, he pretty much catches on like right away that Stephanie is the mystery blonde who is jinxing Hunter Pence and gets the entire stadium behind him to boo her.
Yes,
multiple times.
It's a lot. And sweet, poor little Max, who has come to the game with 2 baseball gloves, because all he wants is to catch a baseball so he can have something to show everybody at show and tell. And this man just, like, hates this poor little 7-year-old. And also, Max, by the way, like, you didn't have a plan B. There's a lot riding on him catching a ball at this game, because he apparently doesn't have anything else to bring to show and tell.
I also do want to mention, not only does Baseball Christie steal the ball from Max, he then proceeds to berate this small child about how life is not fair and how this is just the first in a series of disappointing things to come in his life.
That does happen. Hunter Pence hits a foul ball and it's going straight to Max, and Baseball Christie just snatches it right before it can get into Max's 2 mitts. And, like, when Matt says, hey, that's a kid, you're stealing from a child, the Baseball Christie is just like, them's the breaks. Life ain't fair, kid. You gotta learn it at some point. People stole from me all the time when I was a child, and I don't extend kindness to anybody else. Life is crawling through the sewage and the gutters.
Life is a series of disappointing events, and this is the first of many for you.
And you know that book series, a series of unfortunate events? That's life.
They might as well just have called it life.
He's an unhappy man.
And then he proceeds to sit down on his nachos, which that's preceding another unfortunate event in Baseball Christie's life.
Yeah, Baseball Christie, he's not having a good day.
Maybe he's not having a good life, to be honest.
Maybe he's not having a good life. Am I starting to empathize with Baseball Christie?
He's the people's champion.
Look at him now. A beloved ex-presidential candidate, and now also enjoying America's favorite pastime.
We should point out, Tyler just keeps texting these jokes about presidential candidates and baseball, because I honestly thought earlier he said we should point out that Hunter Pence sounds like a mix between Joe Biden's son and Mike Pence. It's this weird 2 vice presidents meeting together. And I thought that joke, because I skimmed it at first, was on the same train. And I was like, wow, Tyler's just not letting this thing go. This episode is very political. It's weirdly topical, even though it was released in 2016.
Yes.
But yeah, on to other side plots in the episode. Just to get back on track. So, J Money is back.
J Money! Yes, J Money is back.
He's bringing Lola to the game with him, and he wants to, make a good impression. So he enlists Ramona to be his wing woman.
However, Lola really offers up, like, a really convenient excuse to spend more time together. She gives, like, the most specific snack bar order one can imagine.
Yeah, so J Money goes to get food, and he asks if anybody wants anything, and Lola says, like, oh, I want a hot dog, but I need to have, like, ketchup on one side, mustard on the other, and relish down the middle, because the ketchup and mustard can't touch.
Yes, of course.
Never shall the twain meet.
And, I know this is a joke we brought up last time, because we went on an entire rant about how, ketchup and mustard can't mix, which means she's not a fan of what the Heinz brand is doing right now. This is not a sponsorship, but the flavor combinations from Heinz.
Zach, flavor combinations from Heinz just gotta come up every time.
Yes, I have to. It is my brand.
I finally acquired all the flavor combinations from Heinz. I got Cranch. Sorry, let me take that again. I got Cranch.
You have to say it like that.
You got Honey Racha. You got Mayo Must. You got Mayo Q. You got Mayo Chup. And I assume that if I squirt all of them onto a glove of some kind, I can snap and erase half the life in the universe.
Yes, the Chaos Emeralds. I was not expecting that much of a laugh from that.
It's just referring to the Infinity Stones as the Chaos Emeralds. Really got me.
I was not expecting that big of a laugh from either of you guys, but the laugh is contagious, and now I'm dying of laughter.
Because I was like 80% sure you were doing it as a joke, but a part of me was like, Zach's the only one here who like doesn't really read comic books.
I've
Maybe
seen
he
the
just
Marvel
made
movies.
I know you've seen it. That's why I was like, I'm 80% sure it's a joke. But sometimes you hear something, it's like, this is just the first thing that pops into my head. I know you're a bigger Sonic fan than you are of the Marvels.
I just thought it would be fun to say something else.
It was extremely funny, Zach. Did you not clock my reaction?
Oh no, I did. It was a lot fun. It was a lot less funny in my head than it was out loud, apparently.
The referring to the Infinity Stones as the Chaos Emeralds incredibly got me.
Thank you.
Also, wait, guys. I also now know what a Lola Cola is. Her very specific
Ooh.
drink order.
Yeah, she also orders a Lola Cola.
Half root beer, half diet soda with a splash of lemonade. Which isn't nearly as complicated as I thought it was.
Yeah, but you know, she asked for that, and then Ramona, being the smooth wing woman she is, just says, "Why don't you just go with him?" So she does, and Matt, because he's there with DJ and got the ticket for free, gives Jay money, his credit card, to buy the food with.
Which is a terrible decision.
What could possibly go wrong? We should point out that Jackson does refer to himself as J Money again in this episode.
Multiple times.
Yes.
Multiple times. It is cemented. It is here. We have arrived. This is our moment. I'm coming out of my cage and I'm doing just fine.
We also have an excellent J Money quote. J Money don't try. J Money is.
After Ramona tells him to try to be cool.
J Money don't try. J Money is J Money.
J Money is a state of mind.
Exactly.
It's not an action. It's not a verb.
What if the real J Money was the friends we made along the way?
Tyler just texted coming out of my cage and I've been doing just money. You did it. Oh, I love it. Between Jage and the Chaos Emeralds, I am loving this episode, I have to be honest.
We are loving this reshoot. This reshoot that is just a mess, and we have not talked about the episode at all. So they go to the gift shop, and Lola sees a signed jersey of, I think it was Tim Lincecum is the player, who I believe was a pitcher on the San Francisco Giants for a while. Signed jersey. And she's like, oh, I want one. And J Money's just like, yo, J Money's got this. All right, I got this veterinarian's credit card. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
If he had stacks of literal cash, he'd definitely be flying.
Making it rain.
Be making it rain. He only has someone else's credit card, but he does buy that $247 jersey for a girl he likes with someone else's credit card.
It is funny how the guy at the checkout is like, oh, thank you, Dr. Matt Harmon, to this child.
Yes, that does happen.
They're getting younger every year.
He's a regular Doogie Howser.
This is why I don't trust doctors. They'll give a medical degree to anybody. That was also a lie. Both of my parents are doctors.
I was gonna say. This entire episode has just been me calling Mark out on his bullshit. The people deserve to know the truth.
But I do my bullshit for them.
Zach, the investigative reporter.
Yes.
Out on the prowl, exposing corruption in the Fullest House podcast.
Listen, this is a take 2 of an episode that we already filmed most of. We didn't film the entire thing. So we gotta find some way to spice it up a little bit, you know?
Yes.
Make it spontaneous.
Guys, not to bring the energy down, but Tyler has alerted us. This episode was co-storied by our favorite writer, my hero, Andrew Gottlieb, and that this was also his last Fuller House contribution.
I feel like we need a eulogy for Andrew Gottlieb.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, we are gathered here today for a eulogy of our good friend, Andrew Gottlieb.
Oh, I bet it's going to be really good.
We've never met him. Thank you, Mark. We've never met him. We just truly enjoyed his work on the Netflix series, the critically acclaimed Netflix series, Fuller House. He didn't die or anything. He just stopped working on the show. And he will be dearly missed. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen.
I don't know about you, Harrison, but I am crying. I know you can't hear it in my voice, but I'm crying.
Indeed. It's a sad time for all.
He taught us to drink, to play, and yes,
And also
to fuck. The same title of his book. Drink, play, fuck.
Oh my god.
Anyway, back at the game.
Yeah, back at the game. He gets the jersey, and then J Money takes Lola to his favorite spot in the stadium, thus abandoning Ramona. And they're all the way at the top of the stadium with a nice view of the city, and they ditch Ramona.
And J Money does this very cool guy. Oh, you look cold. Let me put my arm around you. Now, I'm going to ask some relationship advice again.
Okay.
So that's like a cool thing to do, to put your arm around a girl. But if I want, but like, so it'd be really sweet if I brought her closer and just like got my arm around her neck, right? And like dragged her into me. And again I'd shout, I know where you live. I know where you live. It's this really sweet thing. I know these personal details about her.
I'm just imagining you like putting a girl in a headlock, just shouting, I know where you live. I know where you live.
The headlock is a foolproof method of seduction. You're right on the money.
The tighter, the better, honestly.
It's especially good to do right when she's being intimate with you, when she's like coming closer towards you. Just throw her in that headlock.
She'll never expect it.
And she will be all yours.
And again, because we've had issues with this episode, this is all fully a joke. Never do that to not only a girl, to any other human being. Treat people with kindness and respect, and respect everybody's humanity at all times. Please, be a good person. Anyway, back to the comedy podcast.
back to the funny. All right. So Ramona, now being abandoned, is recruited by Gimme to advertise Gilmore-style party planning at the stadium. They go up to the dugout and march on the dugout and then get thrown out of the game. And this is the first of many instances in which our characters get thrown out of the game.
It's quite a series of unfortunate events. So we have this moment with the kiss cam, the classic kiss cam, which is really intent on harassing the shit out of DJ and Matt. Like it cuts to them, and she kisses Tommy, and it cuts away.
She kisses Max. Tommy's not at the game.
Sorry, I mean Max. You're right. And then it cuts away again. It comes back to them.
And we should say, and it was so funny to me. The kiss cam goes on DJ and Matt, and I thought, oh, they're gonna kiss, and Steve's gonna see it on TV, and he's gonna show up and confront DJ. But we did not have to wait that long, because as it turns out, Steve was also at the game. That was maybe my hardest laugh the entire episode.
There's no build-up. He's just there. He's just cuts to him.
Yeah, I do want to bring up also, like, it starts off, it cuts to some person, it cuts to DJ and Matt. DJ kisses her son who's there, and Steve is like, oh, she's just, she's a mom. That's
my girlfriend DJ. She's such a great mom.
It's my girlfriend. It's DJ, my girlfriend. Then it cuts to someone else, cuts back to DJ and Matt, and I think Matt like kisses her gives her like a peck on the cheek or something like that. And then Steve's like, oh, she's just being polite, guys. It's fine. Don't boo her or anything. And then cuts to someone else, cuts to them a third time. And then they finally kiss, which Steve is like, my girlfriend DJ kissing another man?
No, this cannot stand.
Much like a middle schooler, Steve already believes he is with DJ in a fully committed relationship.
Causing him to run down the stadium and get harassed by the mascot, who is a seal.
Well, that mascot tries to stop him from coming at other people. That mascot is a hero.
Yeah.
And then Steve gets thrown out of the game as well. He gets escorted out by security.
Yes. So 3 of our regulars have been escorted off the premises by security.
And it's about to be 4, because it's time for Stephanie to sing at the baseball game.
Yay.
She comes in, and Baseball Christie's like, hey, that girl is the jinx. Everybody boo the jinx. So the crowd boos her. And then Stephanie just goes, is that what you want? You want me to break up with Hunter Pence? Is that what you want? So she breaks up with him.
Yeah, she breaks up with him. She is a hero. It's a very selfless deed. But then she does immediately say, oh, I need one more kiss or something. And she starts running for him. And then security grabs her and also and escorts her off the premises. Which I'd like to think it's not because she started running for the dugout. I'd like to think it was just that everybody hated her so much that security went like, well, we have to make her leave.
Yeah. And then, so now we cut to everybody's outside the stadium. Everyone gets released by security. And now that Stephanie's broken up with Hunter Pence, Max is still upset because he never got his foul ball. But it's the bottom of the ninth. The bases are loaded. Hunter Pence is up to bat. And he knocks it out of the park and directly into Max's glove because why not?
Yeah. Did we mention Hunter Pence's reaction to Steph breaking up with him?
No, I don't think we did.
Well, his girlfriend, who just broke up with him, is escorted off the premises. And instead of being sad or having some sort of emotional reaction, he says, well, maybe I'll start getting hits again. It's like, wow, Hunter Pence.
God damn it, Hunter Pence.
He just moves on real fast.
We know where your priorities lie.
And literally his next at-bat, or I'm assuming it's his next at-bat, he hits a freaking walk-off grand slam directly into Max's glove. It's magic.
Which, to be fair, it confirms that Steph is a jinx.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But, like, come on, Hunter Pence. Steph, you deserve better. And by the way, this was also the plot of an episode of Cheers, I just want to say.
Yes.
Yeah, Carla starts dating hot new hockey player Eddie LeBec. And the minute they start dating, he hits a slump. And it's resolved in maybe one of my favorite resolutions of any sitcom plotline, which is they decide to just break up before every game. They just start saying, like, I hate you, I never want to see you again. And then, like, but we're still on for 7, right? And it's just great. And he starts winning again. It's wonderful. Cheers is a good show.
Yay!
Cheers is a very good show.
I remember we talked about, I know we don't do a spin-off show every episode anymore, but I remember we thought of one. I think we agree that we need a serious drama about the spiritual awakening of our poor, sad boy, Baseball Chris Christie.
Yes.
As he goes on a journey of self-discovery. And, I mean, I think part of his goal throughout this should be him trying to make the world a better place. By
fighting crime.
Yay! We did it!
We did it!
And by the way, this spinoff will be very artsy, very voyeuristic. It's like handheld camera,
Yes.
very stark, dark shadows. We do have a scene where Baseball Christie is staring at himself in a mirror and whispers in French, I'm a monster. I don't speak French.
I'd like to think that the set design is, it's a hybrid of all the classic film styles. I'd like to think the sets have like a German expressionist feel,
Yes.
almost like Tim Burton-esque, and then like all of the dubbing is done in different languages. Wait, where is this going?
I don't know, keep going. I want to hear this, keep going.
All of the action scenes are done in the style of like the wuxia, crouching tiger, hidden dragon.
Some of it is animated.
Yes.
And not like CG Disney Western crap. We're talking about like real artsy animation. Like they got in some Studio Ghibli people. By the way, I do just want to say, you said that we're not doing a spinoff every episode anymore. But I think this actually would have been the first episode that we didn't do a spinoff for.
Wait, have we really done it every episode?
I think so.
It's very possible. Anyways, back to the episode. So they get back from the game.
Whoop, whoop.
J Money reveals that in order to pay for the jersey, he'll be washing Matt's car every weekend for the next 2 years, I believe.
2 years, yes.
Yes. Which, that's some serious child labor.
Yes.
That's like a payment of like 2 cents a day.
But, yeah, DJ is also confronted by Matt and Steve. And she's confronted by her 2 lovers. And what will she do?
That's right.
And DJ carefully explains that, well, Matt and I had been seeing each other, and then Steve kissed me, so honestly, I did nothing wrong. Which, to be fair, like,
It's fair.
Yeah, is fair. I do also want to say that after Steve kissed her, she could have said, I'm sorry, I'm seeing someone, but she liked the kiss too much. But But I will say, overall, I don't think she took any wrong actions. I think that she could have handled the situation a little better, and maybe some things are on you, Deej.
But this is also the beginning of a very wonderful series of events in which Matt and Steve fight for DJ's love. They have literal flashbacks to earlier episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have such a good use of green screen. I'd like to think it's because they already had it out for Hunter Pence.
Yes, that's 100% why.
Yeah, because Matt tells Steve, he's like, you can't get in the way of us. We had a really passionate kiss. And it cuts to the episode of Fuller House where Matt and DJ kiss for the first time. And then Matt, DJ, and Steve all walk into the frame.
And Matt starts criticizing the kiss.
Steve starts criticizing the kiss. This is Matt's kiss.
Well, you had moved on.
Oh, right, sorry, I got the
No,
order.
I think you had
You had moved on
to
the Steve flashback.
Oh, I said Matt's again.
Yeah.
No, then Steve goes, and it cuts to an episode of Full House where DJ kisses Steve, and they come in again, and they're just shit talking each other about how bad their kisses are.
But Kimmy does compliment teenage
Yes,
Steve.
Kimmy and Stephanie also walk in on the second one as well.
Yes. They're supportive.
And I must say, I was so not here for it when they started flashing back. But the moment they walked into the frame, oh, this is wonderful. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to ask you guys, Team Matt or Team Steve?
We've also come up with ship names for them. Instead of DJ, we're going with her as Deej, because DJ is a very hard name to come up with ship names for.
Yeah.
So, are we Team Steege or Team Meej? Those are the ship names we came up with.
I don't know.
Although Steege also works.
Steege is very good.
Meej has it more together, but Steege has more sadness, and that's so endearing.
And that's really what we're aiming for?
So, I don't know, it's tough.
I think Matt, because sometimes I do get these things where there will be a sitcom guy, and because he's a man and she's a woman, like, he gets to be more goofy and silly in the sitcom. And I'm kind of like, but he's too much of a doofus. Like, what does she see in him? And I get that people just like people sometimes, and I'm a bit of a doofus myself. But, like, sometimes it's like, what is this? Why? And I will say, a part of me feels that with Steve. I feel like Matt makes more sense to me in my head, but I love Steve so much. He's my beautiful boy, my beautiful son. I love my son, Dr. Stephen Hale.
I agree.
But yeah. There's also a very wonderful scene where where Matt and Steve are like, well, listen, we're not going to fight each other, right? If you're not going to pick me, then I'm out. And Steve goes, yes, I agree as well. And Steve opens the door for Matt. Matt leaves, and Steve closes the door and goes, okay, now that he's out, I'm back in. And then Matt bursts through the door and is like, I'm also back in.
And DJ says something about, well, I just can't choose between you two. I need to decide. And I think they say goodbye. There's something, and the episode ends in the most perfect way it could have ended.
Yes.
Which is Matt and Steve both go in to kiss DJ on the opposite cheeks, and DJ at the last moment moves her head back, and Matt and Steve end up kissing each other.
And it's wonderful.
Yes.
The start of a beautiful rivalry and a beautiful bromance.
And some beautiful sadness. Which brings us into our favorite segment that is actually the one part of the episode that we didn't film on the first time around, so you're getting this for the first time ever. It's time for Sad Boy of the Week.
Let's do it.
Yay.
All right. We have so many options here, guys. This is great.
There's a lot of options.
Who do you nominate first?
I think Matt and Steve have to be the first two.
Matt and Steve, definitely.
Yeah. Baseball Chris Christie.
Baseball Christie is up there.
Baseball Christie.
I think Hunter Pence also deserves a nomination.
Hunter Pence. I usually want it when J Money is pining after Lola, it's usually a given that he'll be a Sad Boy of the Week. But I think he did pretty well in this episode. He wasn't very sad in this episode.
Yeah, I think the competition was too good for this episode. Like, the bar was set real high this episode.
I think also he just handled himself pretty well. He did make that dumb purchase, but otherwise he was pretty smooth, made pretty good moves. He wasn't sad.
Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah, he was
Is
okay.
is there anyone else we want to nominate? This is a quick sad boy of the week. Stephanie? Yeah, I think that's fair.
Stephanie, yes.
Stephanie has to be there.
I usually go over the options. Do you want me to go over them?
Do it. You don't need to ask every time. This is part of the segment
yes.
now. Mark goes over the options.
We have my beautiful boy, Steve Hale, who is so in love with DJ that he immediately suggests they move in together, kisses her twice unprompted, immediately assumes that they're dating, gets into a fight with a man in a mascot costume once he finds out that they might not be dating, gets dragged out by security, shows up to her house to plead for her, gets in a fight with her other dude, tricks the other dude so he could have DJ for himself because he's very desperate, and then ends up smooching his bitter rival. It's the last smooch of the night.
It's a strong case.
It's so much sadder than I thought it would be until you described it.
It's very sad.
I will say, like, my heart kind of was going out to Steve. I don't mean to influence you guys unduly, but, like, I was just kind of running through everything he does in the episode, and it is very sad to me.
Just promise that in the sake of being unbiased, you try to give that same energy to every other character.
100% will.
From now on, please give everything you've got into this segment.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go into Matt.
Matt Harmon shows up to DJ's house. We didn't mention this originally, but he gives baseball advice to a professional baseball player.
Yes.
Because he played Little League.
That's right.
Which, okay, hold on. As a two-time Little League champion, I can attest to the fact that it does make you better than the average person.
Better than professionals?
I wouldn't say I'm like the best at baseball, whatever, but I don't see myself as like above others, but I do see myself as like above the average person because of my 2 Little League championships. Listen, whether or not I was actually helpful in achieving that goal is irrelevant. I was on the team.
Well, I can't really brag. I mean, our friend Dan will not let me forget that his dad, who was the coach, had to throw balls at me so that I wouldn't be afraid of them, and that I also got the award Most Improved Hitter one year. So I was very good at baseball as a child.
I do want to say, yes, Zach, I have not won any Little League things either. Yes, Zach, you are better than the average person.
Thank you.
But I do just want to know that Dr. Matt Harmon doesn't say this to an average person. He says this to a professional baseball player.
Listen, everyone could use some advice. Yes. He's in the middle of a slump.
That's also fair.
That's true. He is in the middle of a slump.
But so after noting a professional, Matt...
he gives his credit card.
He gives his credit card to a minor fine, but he gives his credit card to a minor very, very specifically to
a minor who goes by the name J Money.
He gives his credit card to J Money very specifically to impress this woman he works with who might be his girlfriend. But I guess they haven't had that conversation because she's obviously smooching other dudes. He then rushes to her house after he finds out that she might be seeing someone else. And his calm, cool, collected persona that we've seen for a number of episodes vanishes. And he gets into a very heated and petty argument with just some guy. Storming out of her house, but immediately storming back in when he finds out that, yes, he still should be fighting for her. Or can be fighting for her in this petty, two-sided dick measuring contest. And then he, too, ends up smooching his rival.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Baseball Christie.
Baseball Christie.
Baseball Christie.
Baseball Christie.
Shows up to a baseball game. Starts harassing a woman whose only crime was dating a baseball player. He's so angry with this one woman, he has nothing else going on in his life, that he gets the entire stadium to boo her more than once. He steals a baseball from a child, basically. I mean, technically he catches it before Max can catch it, but he steals a baseball from a child. And when accosted by it, defends himself by yelling at a child that life is not fair and he better fucking get used to it. And then he sits in his nachos and presumably goes home and says that he's a monster in his mirror in a segment that might be animated like a Studio Ghibli film.
And then finally,
we got Steph.
Yes,
Steph, who has trained her entire family to make her look cool in front of her professional athlete boyfriend, and then goes to a baseball game to sing professionally for the first time in front of a crowded stadium. She gets harassed by some people. Not some people, the entire stadium.
The entire stadium.
Completely chokes when she starts singing. I did want to say, and it is because she's being booed continuously by hundreds of people, but I think we maybe could note in this segment of all segments that she doesn't do a particularly good job singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Kowtows to peer pressure and breaks up with her professional athlete boyfriend. Tearfully breaks down saying she can't do it, starts running towards him, and then is accosted and taken off the premises by security. And then is presumably alone yet again.
Once again, we have no women. Did you do Hunter Pence yet?
Hunter Pence.
Oh, right,
yeah,
Hunter
Pence, who honestly we went into pretty strong detail about just being a complete weirdo who then doesn't care that he gets broken up with. Hunter Pence is just kind of a weirdo here.
Yeah.
He has a pizza fork.
He eats pizza with a fork and knife, which I think automatically propelled him to sad boy consideration.
And then breaks up with the lovely Aunt Stephanie.
Broken up with.
Doesn't care at all.
Gets broken up with and just does not care.
Gets broken up with. Yeah, he gets dumped. That's right.
And has to spend the entire episode in front of a really bad green screen.
Yes.
So yeah. All right, let's get into the voting.
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
Steve.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna go into more detail than my vote. I was just gonna go like, all right, one by one. Like Hunter Pence. Yeah, he's pretty weird. He's pretty sad, but he's a baseball all-star and hits a walk-off grand slam at the end of the game. He's out. Baseball Christie. Yeah, he does all that, but he got a foul ball and he has presumably a hot wife sitting next to him the entire time. Baseball Christie, and he's the people's champ. Baseball Christie. I was planning on voting for Steve anyway because of that move at the end where he holds the door for Matt, closes it behind him, and is like, "By the way, I'm totally still on."
And we should note that we noted our disappointment about Steve not being sad enough last episode, but that was just a cameo appearance. This is peak, full-fledged.
The full
sad
Steve.
This is the full
Steve Hale experience.
Yes.
The full sad.
I vote for Steve as well.
That's just a clean sweep for Steve.
Steve is our sad boy of the week.
Steve is our sad boy of the week. Steve finally
he got the grand slam.
Guys, I also want to point out with this on our sad boy of the week leaderboard below us, the Good Time Boys with Infinity. Steve is now in first place with 3 sad boy of the week wins.
That's absolutely true.
I feel like we don't have this right now, but I feel like we need like an original song, like an original jingle to like commemorate the new leader.
Just like a little like trumpet fanfare.
Like dun da da.
Exactly. Yeah. Like da, 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 sad.
Yeah. I think now that we know who the Sad King is, I think that's all I had for this episode.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up.
Oh, there was one thing that I think we neglected to mention about Steve, which is that after he kisses DJ, he looks up and his dog is just gone.
Yeah, that's also a very... He loses his dog because he's so interested in kissing DJ.
But anyway, I think that's it for this episode, unless anybody else has anything.
Go right into the outro.
Yep. I think that's it for this episode. Follow us on social media. We are Fullest House Pod on Facebook and at Fullest House Pod on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Mark Greene.
I'm Harrison Bloom.
And I'm Zach Horowitz.
And until next time, may your houses be fuller And where is Steve's dog?
Where is it?
Where?